topic, a daily topic on our critical capabilities. And today we're having a look at configuration management. Now, the configuration management Kanban contains 1600 total nodes, basically, so total criteria that you need to take a look at. And each of these criteria has a question attached to it, has a weight, and has a frequency and a proximity attached to it that makes it viable to figure out where that use case and that critical capability basically fits in the whole scheme of things. Let me show you how that actually looks like in a knowledge graph. So the knowledge graph, that's the thing that we're going to do on a daily basis from now on, because it's a visualization of how the whole process actually looks like. Not just how the whole process actually looks like, but how it's connected. So think of a knowledge graph as what you're used to when you're buying in an online store. The whole, if you like this, you might like that. That's based on a knowledge graph. If Joe buys X, Y, Z, and you buy X, then you might be willing to buy Y and Z as well. You might be interested in that as well. And that's what a knowledge graph is. It basically shows the connection between everything. Let me show you what that looks like in a quick overview. Here's the screen. The blue dot. The blue dot is the topic of today. The topic of today is configuration management. If I click on the blue dot, it expands. There we go. It expands. Isn't that wonderful to see? A sight to behold. It expands in all the critical criteria that are relevant to the topic of configuration management today. Also, what we see here is that the way this knowledge graph works is the use cases that are closest to the center are the most important to the specific topic at hand. So to configuration management at this stage. Here you see the use cases themselves. Make sure your strategy utilizes, etc., and you can expand on those as well. Show all, and it pops out, and you see the details there. The use cases are all connected here to the main topic, but as you can see, these are 2,500 maximum. There's 1,600 in there, so it's a lot of use cases we need to have a look at here. Why don't we just start and drill that down to the top 3 of use cases? So the most important ones. Let's see what it does here. Let's get the right. We're looking at use cases. Here are the use cases, and we're limiting that to 3. So these are the 3 use cases that are most important to configuration management. So the 3 critical criteria that are most important to configuration management. So for instance, let's have a look at this one. Verify that your group is developing robust, fault-tolerant software solutions that deliver business value while adhering to quality system procedures governing software version control, configuration management, and the system development lifecycle. Well, that's all great, but what do I do with that? Let's pull that out a bit. That's one of the top criteria, and I'll double-click on it, and oops, there we go. What are we seeing now? Now we're seeing more details. We're seeing, for instance, that it has a question attached to it. The question. And the question is the question that you ask your team. The question that is the question that you ask yourself in the self-assessment to verify if this is actually in place, if that's actually done. Each and every use case here, criteria, has one of these questions attached to it. See? Double click. There it goes. Here's another question. How do you define software quality? The other things that we see here when we open up one of the criteria is the blue boxes, the yellow boxes, and a number here. That number, that's the weighing score. We call that the Moscow score. Based on frequency and proximity, it defines how high of a priority that specific criteria is to configuration management. The highest one here is 1662 because I picked the top 3, 1662. So this is the most weighted criterion in configuration management, with a question here and other topics that are related to it. The other topics that are related to configuration management here, for example, you can see that really well, is change control. So I might be interested in having a look at change control and go deeper into that. And poof, there we go. More topics related to change control. Directly here to the main topic, configuration management. But these are other criteria that are related to change control in the relationship to configuration management. And I can just continue clicking on this, and there we go. Pop, go open again. So as you can see, you can instantly see and visualize the connection between each and every criteria, between each and every question, and between each and every topic that it's related to as well. Not just configuration management, but here human asset management, Tiger team, and change control. The other thing that you see here is a word, software, for instance. That's the weighing again and the frequency of the topic itself. The important word, the most important word in this whole criterion. So if I'm interested, for instance, in only software-related issues to configuration management, I double-click on this, and there we go. Poof. And there goes the database, and organizing all the criteria related to software configuration management based on their weighting, on their weight and relevancy, and it's organizing them in a way that you can actually address them. So what you see now happening now is that the balls, they're actually moving closer to the circle. So the highest prioritized ones, they actually end up here, the most important ones. So you instantly have an overview. If I'm interested in software in relation to configuration management, I need to focus on these things around here. And I can double click on it and I get this information that we see with this expansion that we have here. That's a lot of information to go through. I can look at this from another angle as well, and that is I can have a look at the urgency. So what I've said before is these numbers, here, the green numbers, those are the urgency numbers, how high of a priority they are. And I can bring them up, and I'm just limiting them to 5 right now. They're categorized into must have, should have, ought have, might have, and could have. And that's the Moscow method. Basically a method that categorizes things that you should do into must, ought, should, might have, could have, and must have, based on the criteria and the weighting. Again, if I take the most important one, must have, so these are the things that I really should have for configuration management, double click, and there we go, poof. These are all the criteria that I need for configuration management. Now that's a bit much, is it? Again, you see here the most important ones are here around the must-have, but I can limit this as well. I can say I only want the Moscow ones. Double click here. I only want the Moscow ones that are the highest priority. So I want the top 10 of criteria. That's what I want to see. Here we are, the top 10 of criteria. Now I need to find the highest number. It's not 1658, it's 1660. It is, I believe, I think I'm right, 1662. This is the highest number. So put that over here. If I double click on that one, I'll get to see the criterion, the critical criteria that's of the highest importance to configuration management. And again, I can double click on it and it expands. And here we see the must have again. So this is a must have criteria. And to make sure that we have this criteria and we have it in place. This one, it's a big criterion. There's a lot going on here to make sure that we actually do this. We can ask our team this question, for instance. Do we organize all this? Does the reliability group have membership and a voice in decisions of the review board and engineering change review board, for example? So this gives you an insight in the top 10 criteria that you could use in your organization and the related questions to that. If I double click on each and every one of them, you see how they're organized. See, they connect to each other. New topics pop up, change control. And here we go. And now I can say, for instance, I'm interested in change control. Let's go for change control. And here we see those popping up again, these 3 topics. These 3 criteria, be sure, liaison, and identify. And go back to the use case again. Another way of looking at this knowledge graph is, for example, by the questions themselves that are in the database, in the knowledge graph. If I enter this, you'll see all the questions popping up. As you know, there's a lot of questions in there. So here we go. It's popping up all the criteria and all the questions in the database, organizing them by relevancy and by frequency. So the most important ones here are in the middle of the globe. If I want to scroll down to, which makes more sense to me, let's start with the top 3 questions, for instance. There we go, top 3 questions. How do you define software quality? Interesting question. What do I do with this? That's the use case where the question is being asked. Invest in development, execution, and oversight of software and hardware, asset and configuration management processes. And again, double click. We see here that it's indeed it's the highest one, 1662. I believe the highest one is 1662. This is 1661, highest criteria. And again, as you see here, it's related to software as a topic, and it's a must-have criterion. Software, interesting topic. Software and configuration management. Obviously, there's a lot going on there. So there you go, all the balls, all the criteria that are related to software. The other thing that I wanted to show you is, I got two more things for you, is this one. These are the words that we just saw, like for instance, software. So the important words on which the criteria are based, on which the weighing of a criteria is based, basically. So we see here all the words that are relevant to the configuration management topic. Problems, for instance, obviously of interest to configuration management. Double click on that. These are the criteria that they actually appear in. And again, I can double click and there we go. It's a could have. So this one is not a must have. Use logic and reasoning to identify the strengths and weaknesses of alternative solutions, conclusions, or approaches to problems. So you see that the lesser in depth to the topic, to the topic criteria, they go down to the could have a list, and the most important ones, they flow to the top, basically based on their frequency and proximity. So these are all the words that are of interest to the topic configuration management. I can click on each and every one of them, and out they pop. Change, obviously, is a big one. So a lot of criteria related to change management, changes, and configuration management. The last one I wanted to show you is this one, and it is all the subjects that are related to the topic of configuration management. There we go. If I do configuration management, these are all the things that I need to be aware of. Oh my gosh, all the things I need to be aware of. Let me zoom in into one. Cybersecurity resilience, great. Oh, help desk, I like that one. Let's click on help desk. Help desk, there's probably a lot going on here. There we go, that help desk is used there. And this is all the stuff that I need to take care of. It's a must-have, actually, a help desk for configuration management. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Information governance, cloud migration, agile testing, all the information that I need basically to have a decent configuration management process in place, and all the criteria that I need behind this. So with that, I will leave you to it. I will open one more thing, the use case, the final explosion of life, and all the information that's in the database. These are all the use cases. Thank you for your interest. If you want to have a look at all the details themselves, they're here. I'm bringing them up in the caption now, show. You can find them in our store, Configuration Management Critical Capabilities, store.theartofservice.com/configuration management critical capabilities. What you get there, if you purchase it, it's $97. You get access to the Excel spreadsheet, to the data that has all this information in it, and that you can reuse in a knowledge graph yourself, or you can reuse in a Kanban or in Jira, in any information tool that you basically have at your disposal. But if you want to use it in a knowledge graph, here you go. That's how it's going to look like. And very helpful to actually visualize the journey of configuration management. Thank you for your attention, and we'll see you tomorrow.